I couldn't believe how much effort I'd put into her birthday celebration. It was my idea from the start. Every aspect, every dollar, every late night spent planning. I wanted everything to be perfect for her. My wife of 4 years. The woman I'd built my life around. The venue was a magnificent rooftop downtown with a view of the metropolitan skyline that made your mouth drop. I'd ordered a 5-layer cake, chocolate and vanilla mingled together, her favorite. There was a champagne tower, too, the kind you see in movies, with glasses stacked so high they shone under the glittering lights. I'd paid extra to have them. Strung up, and I even had flowers flown in from across the world. Dazzling, exotic, because she once said they were her dream bouquet. It cost me a fortune, but I didn't care. This was her night, and I wanted her to feel like the center of the universe. I stood there in my nicest suit, watching her laugh and mix with our 60 guests, friends, family, people we'd known forever. I felt proud, tired, sure, but proud. She looked gorgeous in the dress we'd picked out together months ago, her hair catching the light just right. And I thought, this is it. This is what marriage is about, making her happy. Then she seized the microphone. I expected something heartfelt, maybe a thank you for putting it all together. Instead, she lifted her glass and started talking about Daman Rivera. My guiding light, she called him, her voice loud and clear over the murmur of the crowd. The one who's been there for me through the roughest times. I stood there paralyzed. My smile was still plastered on my face like it didn't know what else to do. Daman. The guy she worked with. The one she'd mentioned a few times, always, with this casual tone that I never thought twice about. My chest clenched, but I told myself to breathe. Wait it out. Maybe she'll get to me next. She didn't. Instead, she turned to me with a small smirk, like she was about to pull off some great joke. She handed me a gift bag, small, light, and said, "For you, honey." People giggled, thinking it was cute. I opened it, expecting maybe a watch, a tie, something reasonable. But no. Inside was a black t-shirt, designer brand, folded flawlessly. I pulled it out, held it up, and there it was. In bold white letters, divorced. The room went silent. For a second. Then a few uncomfortable laughs broke through. She grinned, like it was the funniest thing in the world, like she'd just won some kind of comedy award. My hands shook as I stared at the word. Divorced. 4 years of marriage. All the sacrifices. All the nights I stayed up late paying bills, planning things like this, and she thought this was funny? My throat burned. I felt every pair of eyes on me, waiting for my reaction. I could have yelled. I could have flung the shirt in her face and walked out right then. But I didn't. I laid the bag down, reached into my pocket, and pulled out the Cartier bracelet I'd bought for her. Her real birthday gift. Gold. Sleek. Expensive. Something. I'd saved up for because I knew she'd adore it. I placed it on the table next to the cake, right where everyone could see it. No words. No fuss. Then I turned and walked out. The night air hit my face, cold and sharp, but I didn't stop. I heard the chatter fade behind me, the clinking of glasses, the hum of confusion. I kept walking. My shoes clicked against the pavement. My heart pounded so hard I thought it might shatter my ribs. I didn't know where I was going, but I knew one thing. I wasn't going back. Not for her, not for anyone. That t-shirt wasn't a joke. It was a proclamation, and I wasn't about to stand there and accept it. To grieve over her? Either. I'd been pouring everything into my own life recently, work, running Sasha and Omar's startup, and I felt stronger than I had in years. If she was stumbling, that was on her. Mark texted again an hour later. Daman. Quit. She's hustling at work? That caught my attention. Daman Rivera, her guiding light, the person she toasted at the party while I stood there like an idiot holding that t-shirt. He'd resigned. I didn't know the details. Mark didn't either, simply stated it was sudden. But I could see it. She leaned on him, built her whole image around him, and now he was gone. I didn't grin. But I didn't feel horrible either. I went back to my spreadsheet, the numbers blurring for a second before I refocused. Work was my anchor now. Gregory had me heading 2 more projects, big ones, and the word promotion was floating around. I stayed late that night. The workplace emptied out, just me and the glow of my computer screen. I loved the silence. It gave me room to think. The next day, another acquaintance, Lisa, called. She was closer to her. One of those mutual ties I hadn't broken off yet. She tried a podcast, Lisa said, hesitating, like she wasn't sure I'd want to hear it. It sunk. 1 episode. People despised it. I was driving home, the phone on speaker, the city lights streaking past. Huh, I said, keeping it brief. Lisa kept going. She's posting online again, too, trying to win her fans back. But it's not working. Folks keep bringing up the party. I clutched the wheel a little tighter. The party. That damn t-shirt. I didn't say much. Just let Lisa ramble until she trailed off. Thanks for the update, I remarked and hung up. I didn't need to hear more. She was coming apart, piece by piece. And I wasn't shocked. She'd always been brilliant, at shining when things were easy. When someone else, me, Damen, whoever, was keeping her up. Suddenly, the props were gone, and she didn't know how to stand. Meanwhile, my life was taking off. Gregory brought me into his office a week later. Placed a paper on his desk. You're speaking at a conference next month. Local business thing. They requested you. I blinked. Me? He laughed. That enormous booming laugh of his. Yep, you. You're nailing it lately. People notice. I walked, out of there feeling 10 feet tall. A seminar wasn't huge, but it was mine. Something I'd earned. Then came the big one. An email appeared in my inbox from a guy I met at a conference years back. Some big-shot professor type. We're holding a business conference in Dubai. Love for you to guest lecture. Your name's been showing up. Dubai. I glanced at the screen, the words sinking in. I'd gone from the guy who paid for her party to the guy getting invites halfway across the world. I said yes. That night, I met Sasha and Omar at the diner again. Their software was running. Slow, messy, but moving. I'd put in a little money, a small chunk from my savings. You're like our secret weapon, Sasha said, grinning over his fries. Omar nodded. Quieter, but just as eager. I felt useful. Needed. In a way I hadn't with her. Back at the apartment, I pinned Dubai to my vision board, right next to Thailand, and the house sketch. The runs kept me steady, every morning hitting the ground, my breath fogging in the cool air. I was up to 6 miles now. My body leaner. My mind clear. She was fading. Her job, her podcast, her online clout, and I was rising, seminars, lectures, startups. The world that used to swirl around her was turning toward me, and I wasn't looking back. I didn't dislike her. Didn't really think about her much, but knowing she was struggling while I was climbing, that felt like justice. Calm, clean, the kind I didn't have to fight for.